Hey guys, welcome back to the Methodbox Podcast. This is episode 2. For this episode, we do things a little differently. We take things out of the house and into the NoHo Arts District.
So we shot this video in tandem with a Methodbox episode. So if you're curious to know why we're out in the streets, go watch that video.
We delve into our creative process and what it goes into making a Methodbox video.
And we explore the different projects we're working on and different videos that have coming up this April
that we're super stoked on. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode 2 of the Methodbox Podcast.
Welcome back to the second installment of the Methodbox Podcast. I'm joined today by my brother, the one and only Jonathan Rosales.
And I'm joined today by my brother, Nathan. We're actually on location today, which is very interesting. It's a little bit of an experiment.
We are in North Hollywood, the Arts District, in front of Vicious Dogs, recording a podcast.
Yeah, and there's a reason why we picked this area, which we'll get into, right? Because the theme today we want to talk about is our creative process.
Boom. And really quickly, just to preface, I really have to go pee.
Same here.
So if this podcast is a little shorter than usual, that is why.
Yeah, and we're doing a one-camera setup. So we're very much experimenting with this podcast in every way with this.
You may or may not be able to hear cars in the background. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully we fix that in post.
So before we get into the creative process, by the way, there's one thing that we're super, super pumped to talk about, which we'll save for after we talk about the creative process. But let's just get into it. Let's first update what's going on.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a lot brewing right now.
Yeah. So last time we left off with you, we were talking about college and all that. And since then, a lot's happened. For one, we've basically taken on a lot of projects right now.
Well, before we get into that, let me ask you this. So
Sure.
You made the decision. You're out of college. We're done. We put the exclamation mark on that decision. You did on that decision. I guess we, as far as talking about it,
Okay.
we put out our podcast. We put out our Methodbox episode. I'm curious to know what it was like seeing feedback in the comments section, because you were the one that responded to most of the people.
I mean, I was surprised by all the people that were so supportive of the decision. I realized that once I made the decision, everybody started coming out with their own like anecdotal pieces and stories of them with either similar experiences or why they decided not to go to college. But all in all, everybody's just been super supportive. I'm kind of surprised, other than like our one hater that we constantly have.
He's like, I'm not your friend, but I'm not your enemy either.
Yeah.
What I found interesting, and yeah, it's hard to figure, it's hard to not be biased. Clearly people want to support us and be positive, and that's great. But I got the impression that the consensus was that you made a good decision in not going, and that also those people that did go, they weren't ultimately convinced that it was a good decision for them. So
yeah.
So
exactly.
basically it was kind of up in the air.
Sure.
And that's why they were so supportive.
Yeah. And now I have more time to focus on Methodbox and
all these things that
that we're about to get talking about.
So what's one of the things we got going on update-wise?
Ooh, let's talk about the Alex Gasaway thing first.
Alex Gasaway. So Alex Gasaway reached out to us way back when. Our friendships kind of started because she posted a quote of ours on her Instagram story, and we were kind of tickled by that. And then we saw her channel. This is when she was in her infancy as far as this new, she's done YouTube videos in the past, but she really wanted to launch this whole new like daily vlogging and building this company. So her new channel or her new direction, she only had a couple hundred subs or whatever it was, but I know we were pretty taken by her. Like we could see the twinkle in her eye and like what her potential was. And also she just seemed like a really cool chick.
You know what's kind of funny? And this will make sense later, but the quote that she quoted was from when we were on the Toby podcast.
Oh, right. So it's all interweaving.
Which
and the
is
Toby
something
thing,
that we'll
Toby
talk about
agency
later.
plays into this podcast episode.
But another funny thing is when we actually did meet up with her, it was in North Hollywood, actually a block away from where we are right now.
So we collaborated, Alex and Methodbox, and for her video, she showed people how to do a hyperlapse, or how to cheat a hyperlapse, right? Is that what it was? And she used us as an example, or we were the subjects in that video. For us, because she's so talented, we were able to get a lot from hanging out with her that day that we shot. We got some stuff for a future channel trailer. We got, the intro. Alex Gasaway shot the intro for the Unboxed, which is a hyperlapse, was shot here, like as you said, in North Hollywood. It was the beginning of a beautiful relationship working relationship, and immediately we went to Vid Summit. Like the following week, it was just like we were thrown into Alex's world, and we brought her on as a cinematographer for the Daryl Eves challenge of making a short film overnight.
Yeah, so basically it's like we've hung out with her, and our friendship's been like building up. And we most recently saw her in New York, and she made this great video, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, of how did Casey Neistat change your life. And I feel like a lot of people probably understood where she was coming from with that video, and also was able to relate.
So that's the big thing that just happened to her.
Yeah.
Leading up. So we all went to New York, and we all chose to do 3, 6, 8 videos in our own way. But she saw past that, as you said the other day.
And now she has this other idea for a video, which is what we want to talk about.
So this weekend, unfortunately, Nathan isn't going to be able to make it.
I have work.
And that's one of those things where the beauty of having 2 people in a partnership.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because I'm not going to reveal what the video is about, because obviously you're going to have to wait till the video's out. But, I mean, it's a really fun project that I wish I could have been a part of. And it seems like she's got a lot of cool people participating in it.
She's a daily vlogger, so she had been putting out stuff every single day, getting some traction. But she took months to put out her New York video because she was cranking away at it, and you could feel the work. It's just brilliantly executed on all fronts as far as creativity, the content that she chose, how like tapping into the right audience, evoking emotion. So she did all the right things. And the video, I mean, she's gained. So before she put out that video, she was at just under 900 subscribers, and it's only been a couple of weeks, and now she's at 4K. So she's gained about 3K subscribers, which that's a lot when you're first starting out, like to make that jump. That's like a 300% more increase from what you had. So kudos to her. Good job. She's blossoming into the YouTuber that we knew she would be, and now we're going to collaborate with her on this secret for now project this weekend. But it'll be out early May, right?
It should be out in May. This idea that she has for this video, it's super creative. It's like one of those ideas that once you hear, like, oh, I wish I would have thought about that. It's one of those ideas.
Right.
And whenever you hear those ideas, you know they're good.
So the other thing we got going on is Toby. So
yeah,
just a little bit setup of the Toby agency, our dynamic.
So Toby, we were on their podcast a while ago. They reached out to us after they saw our Colin Samir video, which was about a year ago. We went on their podcast. It was great. They're based out of El Segundo. They had a co-working space, which kind of almost, I would say, planted a tiny seed in my head for this idea for a co-working space that we have now. So we went there. We met Jared, Andrew, and Oz.
Did we say that they are a digital marketing agency?
Yeah, their primary focus is SEO. So they'd been friends of ours, and we go back. But I would say maybe like 2 weeks ago, Jared reached out to us again with a business opportunity, which was he wanted to enlist Methodbox and the brand guys to help do research for this client that they have. We could probably say it, right?
For DJ City.
DJ City. You're more familiar with DJ. You tell them what DJ City is.
So it's there's kind of a dual reason there. Like they wanted us for our branding ideas to help further brand Beat Source. And
so what is DJ City?
If you're a DJ, you can download music from the site.
And from what Jonathan's explained to me before, it's like they'll have like a 32 count intro, so you can easily mix songs in. It's basically a online resource specifically for DJs, so they can like get songs that are easy for mixing. And now this other company called Beat Source is trying to create the software that makes it super easy for people that want to learn DJing to get into it.
Yeah, ultimately that's the goal. Right now we're in phase 1 though, which is the awareness phase.
Specifically what Jared and Toby Agency wants us to do is go through Beat Source's like social media, the catalog of videos they have on their YouTube, and see what the comments are and see how their audience, what they respond to most from their current catalog of videos. So for example, one of the things what that looks like is going on their YouTube page, clicking on a video. Maybe it's a video where it's like a girl host doing the video. Read the comments. You see that this video, out of all the other videos, has a lot more views compared to the rest of the videos. Then we see, oh, maybe it's because there's a girl in this video. So then we write that idea down and we pitch it to them. And like, this is where we think you guys could probably benefit most. if you're trying to start a new company.
So it's I think it's what's exciting about that. It's the first time that we've been contracted for our ideas.
You know, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the people that do YouTube, their source of income, their revenue income is through freelance. At least that's what it seems like for a lot of people. They, you know, everything they do is either around or it revolves video. And this is the first time we've ever done something. I granted you've done stuff alone, and
I'm an independent contractor DJ. As far as like the film stuff, I've done editing.
Oh yeah,
which is so it's interesting to kind of quantify art. And, you know, because there can be a lot of contradictions of like, well, I had this vision. Well, the client has this vision. And it's like, at what point do you cap the ideas? Or at what point do you say, like, this is my idea. I think this is the best idea. And, like, we agreed on this price. It's almost so abstract. It's like, we want your ideas, which is...
Yeah. It's a little weird. Not going to lie. But, I mean, whatever.
No, so... And then there's the third and final kind of update that we have, which is... our secret update, which we'll talk about.
You don't want to leave that to the end?
The person who contacted us for that project, like they could have gone
Nick.
to many different people, but they specifically wanted the Methodbox twist to this thing. So anyway, we're going to get to that. The reason why we're here setting up this podcast right now, besides updates, are...
We are finally making the official, we are starting a podcast video that's going to live on the Methodbox channel.
Yes.
And we're trying to make it as entertaining as possible. So we're out here on location shooting a podcast.
We're going to ultimately talk about today our creative process, but we should start with the creative process of making this episode on the Methodbox channel about podcasting.
So it's tricky because, like we said earlier, each episode's different. So we're gonna get into this one, but chances are, like, the next video is not going to be anything like this.
The video that we're making this week,
I guess let's like start with the idea, right?
Yeah. So the thing that I find so enjoyable, Nathan, about the Methodbox project overall, the thing that we're doing, not only do we have freedom to make whatever we want, the actual process itself of how we come up with any particular video is so different. There's no template to how we come up with a video. So it's true freedom of creativity. It's true being in the moment and being inspired and taking the tools that we've acquired over the years and trusting that and letting that navigate the process each time. So, for example, some videos we can come up with, we'll write the entire script, like the college video. Well, college video is a perfect example of how miscellaneous the process was. At first, we had an idea of let's go film a bunch of stuff. That method is very daunting for us because that's just like, let's just get a bunch of footage, and in the editing room we have to sort through all this stuff and chisel out a story, and that means sifting through hours and hours to look for the opportunities and what this could be. So for that, we had an idea of what we wanted, and then let's stop that process and let's start a new process of let's actually write a script, and then from there go shoot pickups and all that.
So it's like we first shot that video back in May, like all the graduation stuff, but you know, we had an original idea for the video, but it's because so much time has passed and we have had more time to sit on it, and the ideas are constantly changing until we're finally put out the shit dropping out of college video. So that he's basically like it's always different. For this specific video, I mean, it started with we wanted to start a podcast, but we needed like a reason to do it because we have the Methodbox channel, and then we wanted a way to, and we I guess we said this already in the first podcast, but we just wanted a way to talk about things that wouldn't necessarily make sense on the Methodbox channel. Yeah.
So as far as making this, so our podcast is progressing, and today we're talking about the creative process, and I'm interested to see what this will be. But as far as the actual Methodbox video that we make about how we're starting a podcast, which we're about to put out in tandem with this one, and we have bullet points.
It started with the idea of having a podcast, and the reason we wanted to have a podcast was to have an outlet for stuff that doesn't necessarily fit on the Methodbox channel to have it on here. So we're a YouTube channel. We need a video saying when we're launching a podcast, right?
Right.
So we wanted to obviously do it in a fun way that's a little different.
One of the things that I think I brought to the table at some point, I don't know when, was this style that I adopted back in 2012. I call it docu-narrative, which is a combination of making something feel like a documentary and like a narrative piece. So the feeling is very a fly on the wall. It's very voyeuristic. Like you could be that person behind the wall just observing the moment. So that's the style that if I were to say like this is my style as a director when I do music videos or whatever, that's something that I honed in on. At some point I introduced that style into the Methodbox project, and I really don't remember. Oh, it might have even been the Colin and Samir video. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So anyway, we really nailed that, which I'm really proud of this recently with the Cooking Up New Ideas, where we were like, what if we were truly characters? What if instead of doing a vlog about how we're trying to come up with new ideas, what if it was like a scene in a movie?
Yeah.
Or like a series of scenes in the movies that kind of captured, and it was all through these voyeuristic shots. So I think people, those that did watch it, responded to it well, and we're like, okay, this can really be part of our style as we progress.
It's a format that we could keep using.
You were like, for this video, why don't we treat it that way?
Right, because I mean, when I first had the idea for the podcast episode, you know, you first get the basic, like, oh, we're gonna talk about the mics that we use, and then we're gonna like talk about the different steps, and then it's like the first wave of ideas, and then you really start thinking about it, and then you get deeper into it, and how can I make this more complex, how can I make this more interesting, and it's like the second level of ideas come, where it's like, where you're thinking deeper into things, and like, I guess specific things you could do to boost the video in its as a whole.
Also the SEO, no? Like I think there's always a part when we make these YouTube videos where we start to, as we're going down the creative journey, where we start to focus on like the YouTube-y aspect of it. We're like, okay, how can we actually get a lot of views on this? So we start to, there's like the art and science. We did that with the Toby video, actually, the art and science of YouTube. We get into the science part. How can we actually boost this video? Yeah. And there's one point where the incarnation was like we were trying to introduce like the idea of Pat Flynn and what we could do with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like at one point, we were thinking, oh, should we like copy someone's format of it? That way we can be like, oh, we tried doing a podcast like this person just because it might get more views or whatever. But I think I'm happy with the route we ended up going because it's cinematic, and I don't mean like letterbox cinematic. It's just cinematic, and it's informative without being too like on the nose straight. I'm telling the camera what to do. It's more you're getting a glimpse into us just doing that.
And it's something it's a mantra I think I recite to you and try to recite to myself a lot, which I took from my other business partner, Randy, who's a really good writer, which is show, don't tell.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. You know this format of video that we are trying to do, specifically with this one, in this like creative process that we're going through, it's something that I haven't really seen on YouTube. I would say, you know what it
the fly on the wall you're talking
about. It feels like B-roll, but it's not B-roll. I guess what it is. It's like when people try to record B-roll, like when people try to record B-roll, it's like they try to act candid, but like our A-roll is also being candid.
And that's the interesting blur between the two, is that there's filmmaking, and there's good filmmaking. And then there's YouTube.
Yeah.
And then there's people on YouTube at some point trying to make videos that aren't. At some point, the slow-mo B-roll thing took on because they were like, oh, this is what's cinematic. Even though, like, in a real movie, you don't use a lot of slow-mo. Or if you do, it's purposeful. So it's YouTubers saying at some point being like, this, and it's a fad, basically.
Yeah. So I was going to say, you know what I think is going to happen?
What?
Really quickly. You know, so it feels like right now, like the hype on YouTube is around photographers, right? And
photographers,
like Peter McKinnon and Mango Street, like people that know how to like choose
elevated photography, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like people that like put it on a pedestal kind of thing, where it's like there's hyper, like everybody knows who Peter McKinnon is. He's subscribed. He's got an aesthetic. I think soon enough there's going to be a transition where it's like, okay, we're tired of the photographers. It's going to transition to like filmmaking. And like people are gonna appreciate good filmmaking, because right now people are appreciating good photography. But I think
it's also because that's everyone has a phone. Everyone could be a photographer, and the tutorials do really well. I mean, that's why.
So I'm saying, like, why can't that be the case with videography? The people that are actually true to being good filmmakers, those are the cream of rice at the top.
Yeah, there's definitely an audience. I think the thing about photography in particular, though, is that everyone thinks that they could be a photographer. It's really accessible, which is why that market is so huge.
What makes it more accessible than video? It's just like going on the app and swiping over one more time.
Everyone takes thousands of photos every single day, but not everyone makes films every day or tries to make a video every day. I'm just saying the market's bigger.
Yeah, I guess what I think is going to happen is the whole photography aesthetic is going to become just oversaturated, and the people are going to get tired of it, and then people are going to look for something new that takes more talent.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Us being filmmakers on YouTube. Yeah, so it's interesting to see the journey that this video, I mean, every episode we make, like I said, it's interesting to see what the journey is. For this one, as you said, there's like multiple waves, and at one point we get into our own heads in a good way, really. We're basically taking the object and looking at it from all kinds of different angles. And for this video, it did get to a point where we wanted to, how can we get as many, how can we make this like super SEO friendly? So like, as far as the Pat Flynn thing, we noticed that, you know, he's a popular podcaster, and he had, you discovered that he has a checklist. Hey, if you want to start a podcast, here are 50 things to check off your list. And when we're looking at it, we're like, oh, this is super informative.
Yeah.
What if our podcast video was, we started a podcast using Pat Flynn check, whatever we would have titled it or whatever.
Yeah, I think I said that was like the second stage of ideas that I had.
And then we kind of lived in that for a while, and I'm happy that you ended up settling on this, the voyeuristic fly in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I want to like be selective about. I don't want to like just keep doing it. I think it'd be cool for it to be like a format of video that we do. Is that Cody? No, I was kidding. There's a guy that's on one wheel right now.
Is that Cody?
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of it. It makes it feel like a film. I think it's fresh, and people that watch it be like, whoa, what's this?
And you know, it makes me happy.
It makes Jonathan happy.
It makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm down with it. But there definitely is. It's not like that's all we're gonna do.
No, of course not.
Because like there's obvious times where we need to like actually tell the cameras stuff.
Right. And this podcast is an outlet for that too, where we just want to be completely expository and be like, here's just information, here's us just saying it.
Yeah, for those of you that are actually listening.
So yeah, I guess as we progress down this podcast route, just know that we're going to probably talk about our process a lot because of that very point that each episode is very different, and can be exciting how we came up with an episode.
Honestly, after this, I think we're just like going home, getting a couple more shots for this, because the structure of this video, it's like the structure of creating a podcast. It's like coming up with the name, the idea, like coming with the titles, and then shooting the podcast and editing it, then posting and syndicating it, right? And that's like we're basically shooting this chronologically, and we're almost done. Hopefully, we can knock it out tonight, and then we can be done and then post it on Thursday. And
specifically, why chronological on this one? And we really just started filming this one like 3 hours ago or something.
The entire video.
It was because it was like, hey, we need to post something. Let's just start getting into it and being in the moment and just recording. Let's stop talking about it and just do it. And the style of the fly on the wall is really conducive to that.
You know what I found kind of interesting? The fact that like the script that we had wasn't like fully fledged out or anything.
It was very bullet point.
It was just bullet points.
Which we were
and like we're basically almost done with this episode as far as the shooting one, and like it took like half a day.
So that's what I'm saying is that we can, because I think a lot of times you're worried about being stuck on, like, our episodes take too long to produce sometimes, and we definitely have like that college one took weeks to do.
Jeez.
But so one thing that we say that we're trying to find that balance between quantity and quality, and that's been the thing, which I think we've gotten good at. So, I mean, there was a point last week where you're like, I just want to like sit down and I just want to pop out videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, that's cool, but let's put in a little bit more work, even if it takes one day. And I think so now the Instagram, the 5 tips, that was like the example, but now I think this could be a really good example of how we can shoot a bad. I have no doubt this is going to be a cool video, this podcast, but give it some depth. You know, we could do it in a day.
Yeah, honestly, it's just coming up with the ideas is like, I think it gets to the point where, you know, right now, because it feels like we aren't putting out that much content where each video has to be like this crazy good idea. But I think when you get to the point where you're posting like 2 videos a week, it's like you can make videos about little ideas because like within the next 3 days you have another video with something else.
Right. But I think part of our brand is that we're uncompromising in that we can just like put out a whatever video.
I think no matter what, we're always going to have those videos that take a month to edit in like 30 hours or something ridiculous. Yeah, that's always going to be the case. But I think we can also balance out like the short form SEO content that gets us views.
And I'm glad that you're on because it was an extreme point of contention last week with us. Like we weren't talking. We were gonna,
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, but it was like
it's all paradise. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, it's all paradise. No, but I think it's important to kind of hint at that because I'm happy that we found
kind of like a mutual
that. Like today, more than ever, I feel like we've been on the same page.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, let's just keep that flow. Because right now we're flowing together.
Great.
Today was a beautiful example of that.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. No more juicy,
drama-filled
podcasts.
The last update that's happening in April that we're super pumped on. So
can I say something real quick?
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, do you want to talk about it?
About a year ago, we like started this Methodbox thing. Project. I don't know how to call it a thing.
Yeah, no, we're going to come up on our year in review. By the way, that's going to be the next thing that we do is our year in review.
That's going to be one of those videos that's
going to be the button on that whole crazy year.
Dude, honestly, I can't wait till we're done with that. Not just because I don't want to do it, but then after that, it's like
clean slate.
We can just like create whatever now.
Methodbox 2.0.
And because, well, you'll see why I'm excited for after that.
Yeah. Which is this update? Yeah.
But you had it right. That was the main reason why. So a year ago, when we first started, we had gained a little bit of an audience after we made that Colin Samir video,
which was our fourth video.
Yeah, which was our fourth video, and some of that audience crossed over to our Instagram, which was kind of cool because it means like, oh, these people actually do care about us. And one of these people that crossed over, I noticed a very distinct profile picture.
It was actually our sixth video.
Sixth video? Oh, yeah.
Because the fourth one was the analysis, branding them, and the sixth one was the fourth one was keep it weird.
Yeah.
It's crazy how we have the catalog in our head.
Jeez. So one of these profiles that started following us on Instagram, a very distinct profile picture, called Infinity Aquariums, and they were one of those profiles that every time I posted a thing on our Instagram, they would be one of the people that watched it.
Right.
And it was interesting that they had never reached out to us anything, and I had no idea who these people were. And then, what, like 2 weeks ago? No.
Should we talk about the 368 opportunity?
Yeah,
is this the time to do it?
How did I forget?
Yeah,
go ahead.
So we said Infinity Aquarium, so we could say Nick.
Yeah, we can say
Nick.
So
Nick,
Infinity Aquariums revealed himself as Nick.
Well, he's got a partnership. Anyway, he's been following us for about a year, and he's super cool guy, super nice, very articulate, wholesome, warm-hearted guy. And back in December, he reached out to us and was like, hey, I've been following you guys ever since Colin and Samir. I've been keeping an eye on you, and there was something about that in the Colin and Samir video in particular where we did something very Methodboxy, which is we, halfway through the documentary type feel of trying to find Colin and Samir, we cut it to basically a short film. It's a scene, but it feels like a short film, very much like voyeuristic. He's like, there was something in the tone in that. Anyway, he was able to feel it, which is what we love. You know, it's like, yes, it's that tone. So he's like, that resonated with him, and it's always stuck with him. And he's been keeping an eye on us. So when he reached out in December, he was like, hey, I want to do something very philanthropic. I want to give back to this is a guy who he's been on HGTV. He does high-end custom aquariums.
He was even one of the top YouTubers when the YouTube first came out.
Yeah,
he revealed to us.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where it's, you gamble on something and you don't know that these things are going to blow up. So if he had continued on it, but anyway, no, he and his partner are super successful in making custom aquariums, and they reached out and were like, we want to do something. We want to give back. We're reaching out to 368 about building a custom aquarium. We love what you guys do. Do you want to document that process? There's really no need for us to be there outside, because he's like, they're going to have their own cameras and stuff, but he wanted to bring us along for the ride to see what we could do with it. And at the time, we were going to go to New York already.
Oh, yeah, we were going to be there for 368, the event.
So he's like, I'm like, we're already going to be there. This is perfect. Everything's falling into place. And then it ended up being the case that they declined ultimately, I think because of all the maintenance issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, sorry guys, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. Like, it's cool. Then we get the text.
So we got a text. It was a night Jonathan and I decided to go get all-you-can-eat sushi. We walk into Sushi by Jin, and Jonathan's like doing something on his phone, or his attention somewhere else. But I'm like, bro.
Did you just see that text?
And then I'm like, check your phone right now. And then it's like this long paragraph message, and I'm like staring at him as he's like reading, waiting to him. He sees the words.
And basically Nick is like, he's like, hey, that same idea, we're going to do that. were thumbs up, but for this other YouTube channel, and let's not even give what we were going to say earlier about the
just
initials.
because I feel like even if we said that, it'd be too obvious.
But it's like, it's going to be with this channel. We want to do you want to document that process? And we're like, yeah,
yeah,
definitely want to do that.
Let's fucking do that.
So we've been on that. We've been on that case.
Even today we were filming part of it today.
Today was day 2 of 4, possibly 5 shoot dates.
And just like, I don't know, it's a cool experience to just be in it. It's definitely like one of those things, like Jonathan said earlier, we had a heated past week, and it's definitely like a good,
It's like, hey, like, look, shaking things up. Like, we're on the right track. Let's just,
This specific project, I think, is one where we are both able to really let our like colors shine when it comes to producing videos.
I think all 3 channels and all brands, referring to Methodbox, referring to Nick and Infinity Aquariums,
and
his company, and the other channel. I think we're all in a stage in our journey where we're all ready to kind of level up.
Oh, yeah.
This video, or this moment, I guess our job as documentarians of this is to document this very unique moment in all 3 of ours journey.
Yeah.
Which is kind of exciting for us.
I think the goal with our video is to kind of, make it a video that Nick's going to like, but also the other people that we're working with. We wanted to have it as like
we want them to be super pumped on it.
Yeah, we want them to be like, fuck yeah, that was great.
And honestly, we just have to do our jobs, and we do what we do. Like we said earlier, like he could have gone with anyone else to have along for the ride. He said that to us today.
Exact words.
And those exact words, and he chose us for a reason. And it's our job to deliver where we capture that moment in all 3 of the brands and all 3 of the journeys. But it's also our job to do what we do and giving it that Methodbox twist.
Yeah.
Like, here's the reason why we did this. And I think that challenge, going back to the creative process, it's always one of those things where it's like, we don't know how we're going to get there, but let's throw ourselves at it. And those creative opportunities, it's basically keeping alert, keeping our eyes open for those possibilities, and it smacks us in the head.
Yeah.
One of us will tell the other, and then we run in those directions.
Yeah. It's funny because it really does feel like they come in waves.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing.
This would
and then
be
it's
our
like it dies down for a little
wave,
bit,
right?
and then like something else comes, whether we're chasing it or someone
Yeah.
comes to us. It's like these lulls, and then it gets exciting again.
Yeah, and I wonder how that's going to be as we progress. If they're going to be more and more frequent.
Yeah.
As our channel gets more and more exposure over time.
I think we're at the point now where even if there is a lull, we're like, we know what that feels like, and we're prepared for it now, and we know like how to respond to that.
And we know how to tread water while that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For the next wave, to be literal with our analogy of the wave. Yeah. So, all right, guys, we'll keep you posted on that.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. All right, podcast episode number 2.
Yeah, I really have to go pee.
In the books. We both have to pee. Good job.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
You think we'll get another podcast in before I turn 21?
Yeah, Nathan turns 21 in 20 days.
In 2 exact weeks. Today
2
is
weeks.
Monday the 8th. Monday, April 22nd is my 21st.
That's exciting, man.
Gonna get lit.
Your friends are coming in town and doing the whole thing. For me, I am in the thick of it in wedding world, and like I have a double wedding coming up. Then the following week I have a triple. So it's about riding this new Methodbox wave, producing content, but still, taxes are due, property taxes.
Dude,
it's intense
like,
right now.
Like we said earlier, it's this whole week. It's got this Toby thing. We got the Secret Project. We got this Methodbox podcast thing we got to do.
The Alex thing at the end of the week.
Jonathan's a DJ. I got work. It's fucking crazy.
I just DJ'd an event this past Saturday where Halsey was
That's fucking insane, bro.
Was performed live, and it was one of the most intense and nerve-wracking things, having a cue music or cue walk-on music. I had never done something like that. Anyway, yeah. Very interesting time, and we have the summer's about to start, man.
Oh, bro,
let's get this.
I cannot wait.
All right, so if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to our podcast. Subscribe to our actual Methodbox channel. We have so much more. We're just getting started with this.
We're on Instagram at Methodbox, Twitter at MethodboxYT, and I think that's it. I think those are our 2 main socials.
So the next one, guys. See you next week.
Bye, guys. Recording. See if the camera's still recording. Hey.